Hey everybody, it is Whitney Barkley, Chief Connector and founder of the Barter Babes. I am here with the lovely Kiersten Kindred, and we are
Hi.
going to talk about why every babe needs to understand how to do marketing consistency. So, Babes in Charge is our first ever series, and I'm so excited to have everyone with us tonight. And the reason that I started this series is because I truly want female entrepreneurs to take charge of their business. So many times we are bogged down by, I can't do this, or we have so many excuses of why we can't make our businesses go forward. So I'm looking to talk to professionals and experts who are going to help you get over some of the pain points that you have in your business. So without further ado, I want to read the bio of the lovely Kiersten Kindred. So first and foremost, she is the founder and CEO of Kindred Communications, where she specializes in marketing, branding, and communication. There is a difference between the three. We will talk about that tonight. In addition to her being the CEO, she is also the Label League leader in Houston, which is where she's a native. So that is awesome. And if you're not familiar with the Label League, make sure you check them out as well. But on top of that, she is a phenomenal writer, and she's written for publications like Cosmopolitan Magazine, 17 Magazine, and In Touch. I mean, she's even had her own column. So this girl is everywhere, and she is definitely on fire. So without much further ado, I just want her to say a couple of words and introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. First of all, thank you so much, Whitney, for having me, and thanks for that wonderful introduction. That is awesome. My name is Kiersten Kindred, and as she mentioned, I'm from Houston, and I'm a communications professional, and I help small to medium-sized businesses get their life together when it comes to communications and branding.
Excellent. So, Kiersten, thank you so much for being the first to be in the Babes in Charge series. So excited to have you. And for those who are tuning in tonight, just a couple of housekeeping rules as we go through the interview process. So, first things first, if you're watching this on a computer, make sure that you take away all your tabs, because if you have multiple tabs, it can definitely slow down the stream. So make sure that you click out of all your tabs. If you are on a mobile device, you still should be able to comment using the YouTube live comment feature below. And if you guys are on Twitter, make sure you tweet us at the Barter Babes or at Miss_Kindred11, and we'll make sure that we'll answer your questions throughout tonight's interview. So without much further ado, we're going to kick it off with the first question. So Kiersten, tell us just a little bit about yourself and how did you get into the marketing and communications field?
I went to school. I earned my undergrad in mass communications, and I was wanting to be an entertainment reporter and, interview the celebrities. I've always been like a pop culture girl. I love everything pop culture. And when I graduated from college, I was having a tough time finding communication jobs. Like that was like really, really hard. And I was able to get my first job from volunteering, and the person who was the executive producer of the news station I was volunteering for had me to forward over my resume, and she forwarded it to some friends, and I got my first job at a production company producing television commercials.
Wow.
Yeah. From there, I went on to be a reporter. So I did fulfill my dream of being a reporter. I was a local reporter, news reporter, doing columns, and I had a weekly column, and I used to do local news and also writing for Cosmopolitan and In Touch. As my time went on with the newspaper that I was with, I was meeting with a lot of small businesses, and I really heard their issues that they were having with communications and marketing. And, I just used to write out marketing plans for them, like, hey, why don't you just do this? And, a lot of them were like, why don't you help me with this? And so I got my first client. It was an insurance agent, and I literally fell into helping small businesses, but it's something that I really love. And I wrote a book called 5 Steps to Marketing Success, a small business guide, to kind of help people if I'm not able to be there and they're not able to be a client. The book is like their go-to guide.
Okay, excellent. Excellent. So, I mean, I imagine it's an amazing book. And I know that you also are having something come out on March 1st as well, correct?
Yeah, May 1st. Yes.
May 1st, all right.
Yes. Oh yeah, I don't know that I'm not gonna reveal a name. I don't know a name yet, but it's gonna be an activity book for entrepreneurs and creatives and business professionals, and just kind of guiding them through a well-balanced life, because that's something that I need right now. I have all these planners and they're great and everything, but the planners don't tell me how many bottles of water I've had for the day. That have I had my vegetables and fruit servings that I need for the day. What's the task for the morning and evening and afternoon? And, have I done my daily devotional? Have I done my prayer for the day? So, it's just kind of like a well-balanced life, and it's an activity book. It's a 21-day activity book, because I believe that all habits can be formed in 21 days. And I'm a challenge girl, so I love challenges. So, yep, it's going to be out May 1st.
Oh, excellent. Speaking of challenges, we know that marketing can definitely be a big challenge for people who are first-time entrepreneurs. So a few years ago, I took a survey and I realized and found out that marketing was essentially one of the biggest pain points for people who are starting out in business. So tell me, why do you think that people are scared or they're deterred to market consistently within their business?
They're scared because they think that like marketing is like this big monster that's gonna haunt them. But really, marketing is about putting yourself out there, and it's about trying different things. And I think a lot of times people don't want to just try different things because it's expensive trying multiple things. But at the same time, if you want to be a small business owner, you got to make the investment in yourself. So I think it's a little bit of a mixture of everything. Of I don't want to waste this money on here. I want to kind of budget myself, but marketing is a budget completely of its own.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree with you. And I think another reason too why marketing is a challenge for people, because a lot of people put it on a back burner. You'll be surprised about how many people think that they don't need to market themselves.
Oh, yeah.
There are some people, like, I know people who have been in business for years, and maybe they've built a reputation based off of, just building their reputation, essentially. They've built it off of word of mouth. But, now with social media, it's like a struggle for them to find new business because they're not familiar with those tools. So you want to make sure that you're not putting yourself in that box as well. Don't just always refer on word of mouth. Even though it is great, you still want to definitely try to put yourself out there because you don't know who exactly is looking at your brand.
And at the same time, I think a lot of times people think that marketing is just social media. It's like, no, you have to do community relations. You have to make sure that you're networking, make sure that you are always kind of coming up with new stuff and keeping it fresh. And I think sometimes people get so stuck in social media. Like, social media is great, but you still have to put yourself out there.
And I think networking is really important. I recently just moved back to Columbus, Ohio, which is where I'm based now, from Cincinnati. And one of the things that I knew that I needed to do just to make sure that I got my business out there was to make sure that I was networking and talking to different people, attending different events, because, people, they need to see your face. Like, people look at you before they even look at your brand. So it's really important that you're figuring out how to put out your personal brand as well. Yeah. So, I mean, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
And you mentioned community relations too. Talk to me a little bit about that. What can entrepreneurs do to build good community relations?
Just kind of getting out and meeting the people of the community. So whether it be like a lot of times my clients, I tell them to go to local businesses and introduce yourself. Like, hey, I'm a new pet veterinarian down the street. Here's a little bit about me, and just kind of, you have to educate your buyers, because people don't know that they need you until you educate them as to why they need a person like you. But you can't educate anyone if you don't know anybody. So it's just getting out there and talking to different people, and it's all about networking, maybe doing some events, like small little events you can do for your community, and volunteering. A lot of times, if you notice, like a lot of people who are and business owners of 20 years, they're sitting on some board. They're like the women's board of, such and such. They're on a board, and that's how they get their clients. And so you need to get out there and start volunteering and be a part of a group. A lot of times people think they can just do it alone. You can't do it alone. Like, I've tried. You can't. You have to know. I used to always roll my eyes when people say it. It's all about who you know. It's like, oh, it's all about who you know. It's like, no, it's not about who you know, but it is. Like, every opportunity that I've had has been by network or by somebody that I know.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I think, as entrepreneurs, especially women, we have this superwoman syndrome. We think that we have to do every single thing by ourselves. And, we don't reach out and let people know exactly what it is that we want and what we need to really make our business flourish. So I think you hit on a really good point of making sure that you're networking and making sure that you're making the right connections who can help you in different areas. So
Yeah.
great. Thank you.
Yes.
So you said it a little bit earlier. You said there's a lot of other things outside of social media. So can you touch on, again, like you said, community relations, but are there any other activities that people should be doing outside of social media? Because social media is not the one all end all for everything.
Right. I would say setting up a referral network. That's like a really key thing. Just setting up that type of referral network within people who are related to you. So for example, if you are a pediatrician, reach out to people who, a gynecologist or something like that, who may be looking for people to refer to for children's doctors. Set up that referral network. Also, email marketing is really important. I think people neglect their email marketing tactics, which is not good. Setting up a list and doing sales funnels. So sales funnels is like when someone comes to your site, what's the first thing that they see? And I'm guilty of this too. I need to do better with it too. But email marketing and doing sales funnels, when people first have the first contact with you, putting them in a funnel until they buy from you. And blogging. Content is so important. And I am bad with this too, but blogging is really important in getting your SEO out there, your search engine optimization for Google. That's really important.
So explain search engine optimization, because I know that concept is still foreign to a lot of people.
Yeah, so search engine optimization, SEO, is pretty much how you get found on the web. And you want to try to be first, on the first page, because people don't click through different pages. So the ways that you can increase your SEO is through your website, making sure that it's optimized. So the way that you optimize your website is from videos, from pictures, great graphics, good keywords that people who are looking for what you are selling, using those keywords, blogging, keeping it fresh, always keeping your website up to date. Those are kind of SEO key points.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, SEO is definitely important. I actually watched a Periscope yesterday of one of my good friends who interviewed a freelancer who informed us that Google actually has free tools that will allow you to understand what SEO is. Like they have Google Analytics, Google AdSense, all those Google platforms that we need to keep our websites going. They have a free certification or free classes to get to the certification. So definitely something that people need to know about.
Absolutely.
Good. So we touched on some of the activities that people need to do outside of social media. So tell me, what tools or platforms, and you can kind of speak of some of the ones that are most personal to you or ones that you use. What should they be using if they have to resort to kind of that whole do-it-yourself model?
Canva is your best friend. I'm not a designer. I'm not a graphic designer. But to come up with fun pictures and everything like that, Canva is a really good tool. It's pretty much drag and drop. If you don't know how to do your own website, I would go on YouTube and try to do a WordPress site. I am always scared to tell people to do a Wix website, but that was my first website and it did the job. But you eventually want to upgrade to a WordPress website. Fiverr. You can get some really cheap jobs on there, whether you need somebody to do your copy for your websites, if you need some graphics for your website, everything like that. Internships.com is also a good tool for me because I find interns on there. And like I said, you can't do it alone. So yeah, those are like my go-to tools.
Okay. Oh, so you utilize interns in your business. So let's talk about that, because I think a lot of entrepreneurs don't even think about, especially small business owners, we don't think about getting interns initially. Like our minds is, okay, we need to hire someone. So can you tell me just a little bit about how you've incorporated interns in your business and how they've helped you become a little bit more efficient and productive?
You have to delegate. Like delegation is key, and it's for a lot of times for me it's hard to delegate. Kind of like, oh, I can just do it in 5 seconds versus me training someone. But no, take the time out to retrain somebody to help you with that, and it's definitely been beneficial for me. You can make the choice to pay your interns or to not pay your interns. I pay my interns because I feel like people don't like to do stuff for free, and I don't like to either. So I pay them, and that's just a part of my budget. It can be maybe you give them like a little stipend, $250 a month or something. I mean, everything helps. So just little stuff like that, and make sure you get your contracts up to date before you get an intern. That's like the number one thing. Google, just do a simple Google of what all is required, because a lot of them are college students. I only do college students, by the way. But you need to make sure legally what, you can get from a intern. You don't want it to be like a free worker thing. Like there's different laws and stuff like that. So just be careful of that. But yes, interns are integral into my business because I am able to delegate stuff such as social media, such as copy, reaching out to clients and making sure everything is good, and following up.
Right. I think contracts are so important. Even with bartering, that's one of the things that I advocate for. If you're looking to barter with someone, you want to make sure that you always have some form of a written agreement, so that way everyone knows the terms and everyone is on the same page. There's no craziness at the end. So I think that is definitely key. So good. So I mean, you brought up a really great point, because again, I think interns are something that's overlooked for a lot of small business owners, because you associate an intern with a company, right? So you think about like, oh, Google has interns, Apple has interns. You don't think I need interns. So yeah. I just think the mentality just has to switch for small business owners.
Yes.
So outside of the promotional piece of marketing, how can entrepreneurs evaluate their price, product, and place? So, I know you and I have both studied marketing and communications, and we talk about the 4 Ps. So how can people start to evaluate those other Ps?
Honestly, asking your target audience. Just start taking surveys, asking what is needed. That's the way that I do things. I like surveys because I feel like that's the best way. And that's another way to get to your clients. Is like, hey, I have this thing and I'm not trying to sell to you, but I'm just curious, would you, do it for this price? Is this something that you'd be interested in? And I think that that's like the best way, in my opinion, is surveying. And that's how I've gotten a lot of clients, is I tell them, hey, I'm doing this survey, and they're like, oh, what do you do? And then I tell them what I do, and before you know, I have another client.
Wow. So surveying is key. That is a great way to figure out if you're actually doing something right, especially when you're first starting off, because you really don't know how people are going to react to what you're putting out into the market. So I think it is good to always have conversations and to be transparent with your target audience.
Yeah, and get out there. I mean, a lot of people are scared to get out there, but it's like, you got to meet people. Go out, be free. Get out there.
Oh, Kiersten, one quick thing. Someone said that they hear a rattling noise when you speak. I'm not sure.
Oh, are you still hearing it?
Oh, okay. I think that might be good. Is that they said it sounds like your hair might be rubbing the mic, or like a chip bag.
A chip bag?
Oh yeah, I'm reading the comments. They said it sounds like a chip bag.
No, I don't have a chip bag. I ate some chips earlier, but not right now. No, and my hair is not touching the mic because it's on the computer. Are they still hearing it?
Are you guys still hearing it? I don't hear it anymore. I heard it as well a few times as well, but I wanted to wait until you were done before I.
Oh, okay.
But I think you're good now. I think you're good. All right, perfect. All right. So, in your experience, why do you think, just working with different clients, what have you seen is really the biggest reason why marketing consistency is hard for entrepreneurs? Why are people calling you because they're delegating, so why can't they do it themselves?
That's the key. I mean, it's delegation. It's hard to do marketing because marketing is like a multifaceted theme. It's like marketing is like social media. It's part of advertising. It's not the same as advertising, but it is a sub, thing of advertising. It's community relations. It's networking. It's getting out there and promoting the product and marketing it. So if you're a business owner, you don't have time to do all that. Like, it's really, really hard if you're trying to also then get clients and then also do your business. So I think that it's hard to be consistent with it because of everything else that's going on. Like, it's so much other stuff that's going on in your world, and it's like, it's fine. I have enough clients, but you can never get comfortable with marketing. You have always got to be on top of it and always be putting out the next thing so people can look out for.
Excellent. Do you have you ever used a virtual assistant? I know virtual assistants or VAs, as a lot of people like to name them. I know they're becoming really popular, and I know that a lot of people are using them to delegate some of their tasks. Have you ever had any experiences with a VA for your business in particular?
No, I was gonna try it, but I like my interns.
The interns, okay. The
Yeah,
interns were
we become, best friends, and we talk about everything, and it's just I'm more of like a I have to be able to meet you, and it's kind of hard for me.
okay. So for you, you want to definitely make sure that you're building that relationship before you hand off some of those tasks to delegate.
Yes, yes, because my business is my baby, so I need you to care about my baby as much as I do. But if you're over in Cambodia, I can't explain to you how important this business is to me. So yeah, I need to talk to you.
Right. Okay. Makes sense. So this next question, just kind of to segue a little bit, I wanted to kind of give you guys my personal story for this next question. So the Barter Babes, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, the Barter Babes is an education and networking platform that helps female entrepreneurs exchange services. Because, I met so many different women who have great products and services, but unfortunately, they were lacking in some area of their business. So I did the research and I found that bartering could be a really great way to reduce some of your startup costs and help you stay into business. So when I first started my business, I was so excited. I was geeked. I spent thousands of dollars on this website. The website that I got was a beautiful site, but it didn't have nearly any of the functionality that I needed. So it kind of left me bummed out, and I kind of went ghost. I went away from my business for almost a year, and I didn't really put anything out there. So people would ask me, hey Whit, are you still doing Barter Babes? Are you still going to do this? When is the next time you're going to do an event? And I'm just like, wow, people are still looking for this stuff, and I went ghost, like no one saw me again. So I started up everything again this year, and it's going great. But just imagine the impact that I would have had if I had been consistent within my brand. So I wanted to ask you, in your experience and the things that you've seen, how can the lack of marketing consistency negatively affect your brand?
Oh, I mean, it's people are always supporting you when you think that they're not. So you might have missed on a potential client. If you're not consistent. So you just always, because you never know when your next client or when your next customer is going to come. So you need to be consistent with it, because you don't know how they're receiving their piece of information. So you got to be everywhere.
Yes. So I think being everywhere is really important. And to me, I just feel like, had I not left for that period of time, there were so many opportunities and things that could happen. Even within first starting my business, for those of you who are not familiar, there's a program called Project Entrepreneur, sponsored by Rent the Runway. And when I first started my business, that was like one of the first things that I pitched to. And, I was invited to go to New York, and, I met venture capitalists and all these different people. It was an amazing experience. And I know in my heart that if I had kept going, I definitely would have been able to make an impact. And so, for me, my just personal advice to everyone is, if you are planning to take a hiatus from your business, make sure that you have some sort of automation going on. Whether you're using Buffer, Hootsuite, CoSchedule, you want to make sure that you're creating automated processes. So that way, even though you're, grinding and working on your business, people are still seeing you. You're still being visible, because, we're all one tweet away from being irrelevant. So I just really feel like, you really have to kind of think forward and always make sure that your business is still being present, even though you're not necessarily doing it in real time.
Yes.
Great. So another quick question for you. So what is the one thing that entrepreneurs fail to have in place for their marketing efforts?
Having the social media schedule. And I know you mentioned Buffer. Buffer is all I use. I love Buffer. I used to use Hootsuite, but I like Buffer better. Having their social media in place, because a lot of that stuff can be automated, and pay for it. Like pay for it, because that way you can just automate everything versus like just 5 tweets a week or something. And I feel as though they don't have a monthly and quarterly marketing plan developed. So just putting that in place, I go by the quarters, and so I think that if people can have that in place, it would help them tremendously.
Okay, so tell me about that because, okay, I know that sometimes people create marketing plans for the entire year and, you know, you're dividing them by quarter. So
Hello?
how do people business with your clients and you're creating campaigns? How are you evaluating the success of the campaigns they be using?
A lot of A/B testing, just kind of seeing what's working, what's not. Like sometimes, and A/B testing is like pretty much if you send an email out and you say, "Hi, my name is Whitney," and then you send another email like, "So nice to meet you. My name is Whitney." Seeing which one got clicked most. A/B testing, surveying, and then also making sure you're keeping in role of how much money you're making, like space out your efforts. So like, let's say you did a social media campaign on Monday of February. Wait a little while, see how that goes for you as far as money wise, and then maybe do an event in April and see which one got the best feedback. So just kind of waiting a little bit and seeing what efforts are working the best and A/B testing.
Okay. What about repurposing content? I think for a lot of people, especially when I know when I first started my business, I'm like, I need to create something new every single day. Like, there's no way I'm going to repost the same thing. It's kind of like when, you know, people who are into social media, they never wear the same thing twice because they don't want to be seen in the same thing. So some people have the very same mentality about posting on social media. So how can people repurpose their content? Like, so for example, let's say I have a blog post. How can I repurpose that and make sure that I'm adding to the lifeline of that particular piece of content?
Just switching up the wording when you're promoting it. So let's say on social media, you say, one week you say, today we're going to learn about email marketing. And then next week you say, your marketing style needs to change. Let me tell you how. You know, just little stuff like that, like switching up the captions, you can repurpose it. And make sure that it's not like a dated type of post. You want to use evergreen types of posts. And so evergreen means that you can, you know, repurpose it and use it. I just kind of keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm. Evergreen content is good. We had a question. It says, what is the price of Buffer? I think Buffer is $10-15 a month. I think they're awesome. They have an awesome plan, right? And I think that's about $15 a month, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Buffer is really good. I've used both Hootsuite and Buffer. For those of you who have Instagram accounts, it's a really dope tool. And I'm not sure if you know about this as well. You ever heard of Grum? Grum.io?
Yes.
Grum is really great. Grum is probably one of the few platforms where you can schedule posts for Instagram and it immediately goes to Instagram without reminding you to push it. That's the only downside of Buffer that I believe is that, you know, you have to be reminded to post your Instagram posts, but Grum actually posts it for you. So that way you don't have to worry about it at all. So keep that in consideration as well. I think they start at $10 a month as well.
I wanted to mention a little gem. If you all are looking for like a good content management tool, Trilio is a really good one. I just started using that and it helps you kind of keep track of your projects and do like to-do lists, and it's really amazing.
It's called Trilio. Can you spell that for me?
Trello.
Trello. Okay, perfect. I just put it in the comments in case people wanted to go back for it.
Is there a way that I can see the comments, or?
I'm not sure. See, I'm operating on two different computers, so I'm like looking at you, but I'm also looking at the forward-facing piece of it. Yeah. So if you have another device, you can probably see it.
Yeah, I think that's how you spell it, guys. I think it's I'll check it right now. I think it's Trello.
Excellent. Trilio.
Yes,
perfect. And if not, I'll definitely make sure that I'll mention it in the comments as well.
Yeah, that's it.
Perfect. Good. So another question for you. And this question I actually asked women in my Barter Babes community. I have a Facebook group, and I told them that I was going to be interviewing someone who is an expert in marketing and communications. And so the one thing that someone wanted to know was how many times per day on each social media platform site should you be posting? Like how much is appropriate? And how do you get more people to become more engaged on each platform?
Okay, so I'm going to answer it in two parts, but reversed. So the way that you get people to be more engaged is posting constantly, and then also sharing, like engaging with others. But don't promote your stuff on other people's page. That'd be tacky. Don't do that. Engage with them, talk to them. And the way that I think you should, how many times I think you should do on each page? Facebook, I would say 3 times a day. Instagram, I would say twice. Twitter, like 5 times, if not more on Twitter. And Periscope, I don't Periscope, I'm not a Periscoper, but once a day. LinkedIn is like my jam. I love LinkedIn. Love, 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 love. Everybody follow me on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I'm really active on there, like 3-4 times a day, and I'm always commenting on other people's pages. So, show some love to get some love. That's how you get it.
Right. And I'll say too, because I'm really big into algorithms. I actually teach a social media class in Dayton, Ohio. Shout out to the International College of Broadcasting. And one of the things that I definitely try to tell my students is to make sure that you're paying attention to algorithms, because for example, on Twitter, the average lifespan of a tweet is 18 minutes. So literally your Twitter's lifeline is literally only going to be about 18 minutes unless you log out and then you come back in and then you see things that you've missed. But that's really your biggest window of opportunity. So I really think it's about understanding when your audience is online. Because I'll tell you, there's a lot of industry stuff that says, oh, the best time to post on Instagram is at 12 p.m. The best time to post on Twitter is at 3. And it's all good because, they're collecting information from different companies. But at the end of the day, it's really about how you look at your audience and when you evaluate when they're online. Because for me, my audience might be online at 6 o'clock in the morning, but your audience may be on at 12 midnight. You just have to figure out when people are on and learning how to basically put your posts out there around the times that your audience is most engaged. That's why those analytics are really important.
Yes, that is key.
And even with Instagram too, I know that when Facebook took it over, their algorithm changed as well. So on Instagram, we don't see things chronologically. We see things based on our interests. So Instagram shows you things based on how interested you're actually going to be on the post. So, so the things that you're liking will basically impact what you'll be seeing in your timeline when you log in.
Yeah.
So, so just make sure that you're following those trends too. Like, I'm automatically into social media and marketing. That's just my first love. Those are the things that I really love to look for. But if that's something that you haven't been familiar with, just really make sure that you take the time to look at the different tools and to look at the different resources that are out there, because marketing changes so quickly. It's one of the industries that changes all the time. Yeah. So, if you're stuck doing one thing one way, you'll be stuck in the past while everybody else is moving on to something else.
Yes.
So that's really key for me. Like, one of the things that I'm taking out from my personal business is I'm really trying to challenge myself to do more live video. Like, live video is something that I know that is the wave of the future. And, I'm like, oh my God, I'm scared. I don't want to get on. But I know realistically, if I want to connect with my future customers, I know that I have to get on that platform. So just make sure that you're adaptable to new trends and that you're open and willing to try them too.
Yes.
Excellent. And then what are the marketing must-haves? So I'm looking at it. What are the marketing must-haves that entrepreneurs need before launching a new product or service? Because I'll say this, a lot of people, when they get an idea, they get excited and they're like, okay, I have to launch right now. They put something out there and then it's just like, okay, what's the plan? Like, what are we doing next? What are the next things that we have to do? So kind of walk us what that launch process should look like and what type of marketing activities or things you should have in place.
So first, before you launch something, you need to make sure that your branding is consistent and that you have a brand. Like, do you have your color schemes together for the launches you're trying to do? What is going to be the voice of this launch? And how do you want it to convey to your customers? Making sure you have that together. Branding is really important. And I think that that's like the key thing that you need before you launch anything. Of course, a website. You also want to, I always like to do video when I launch something. So I think the video is really important when you're launching something. And also as well, making sure that you have a monthly plan for this. Like, okay, so I just launched this product and now I need to I'm going to send out 2 emails to my email list this month. Next month, I'm going to do an event. The following month, I'm going to do a social media campaign where it's like ads, and I'm going to buy ad space. You know, kind of plan out your money that way. I think that that's like the must-haves is that you have your branding, and then you also plan it out monthly. Like, okay, how long do I want to promote this? When I was doing my conference, we were talking that I planned in 3 months, but the way that I broke it down was month by month. Like, okay, this month I'm going to buy social media ads, and this month I'm going to do it like this. And that way it also helps to measure things out, and it expands your launch because you're on different platforms when you're trying to do it.
Right. I mean, and I think just having a plan is probably the most. They're so excited and ready to get it out there. So I think having those things are definitely good to have in place. Now, there are a few questions that I wanted to make sure that I asked because I just saw a few coming down. One person says, has most of your leads come from LinkedIn? So, in your business, do a lot of your leads come from LinkedIn?
Yes, and does it have a name for the person? Thanks for asking the question.
It is, let me see if I can click on their profile. It's like a username. It's KINCC.
Okay.
KINCC.
I can see. I hope I'm saying it right. But thank you so much for your question. Yes, I get mainly all my leads from LinkedIn, if not all.
Wow. Okay. And okay, good. Okay, so the rest of these are okay.
What'd you say?
Oh no, I'm sorry. No, I was like trying to quickly scroll through, and I'm like, okay, the rest of these are comments. Good. Makes sense.
Yeah, LinkedIn. I started last year, and I was really afraid of it, but I was like, I'm just gonna do it. And I got to 5,000 LinkedIn connections in a couple of months. I was really pushing it.
Wow. 5,000 connections. Wow. So, okay. So let me ask you this, because there's a lot of debate about how people should connect with others on LinkedIn. So do you think that people should be open to connecting with anyone on LinkedIn, or should they only solely connect with people that they actually meet in real life? Because there are a lot of people who have differing opinions about that.
I have a very strong opinion about this. And it's like, well, if you're trying to make money, how are you going to make money if you don't know anyone? I mean, yeah, it's like, yeah, you want to have it to, it's up to you though. If you are more of like, okay, this is my network and this is how I want to keep it, hey, that's fine. But if you're trying to, like when I was trying to produce my conference, I needed sponsors. I can't reach out to those sponsors and I don't have their emails. So I connect with anyone because on LinkedIn, I can message them and I can get there a lot quicker versus on their About Me page trying to get to their email. So yeah, I now, of course, you don't want like weirdos following you. So yeah, you should monitor it. But now I'm like at 6,000 people. I grew it for 5,000 those past couple of months, and now at 6,000. I'm open to connecting with anyone who has like-minded interests. And if they don't, hey, that's fine. We may cross paths later on. So yeah, I think you should be open to meeting new people on LinkedIn because you need to, if you're trying to grow your business, more people need to hear about you. If you're just going to stay in your little cubby hole, no one's going to hear about your business.
And I totally agree with that. I can honestly say that 30% of my professional network is from literally meeting people online. I mean, when you open yourself and allow yourself to network with different people, especially people who live in different cities, like you never know where the possibilities are. I mean, even you and I, like, I've been following you on Twitter for going on 4 years now. Yeah. And so when I thought about this series, like you were the first person that came to my head. I'm like, yeah, she's the one, because I love the stuff that she puts out. She's legit. I looked at your conference reel. I mean, it was amazing. So thank you. You were automatically first person that I thought of, but I would have never have been able to approach you if I had not interacted with you prior in those several years that I've been on Twitter.
Right. Yeah. I don't think you should stay in your own cubby hole.
Right. So we have a question, and the person, I have the real name now. It is Kimberly K. So thank you, Kimberly, for clarifying, because we're both like, it's KINCC, but thank you, Kimberly. So Kimberly wants to know, how do you determine who to connect with though? My business is beauty, so everyone isn't for me, but I can see your point with marketing.
It depends on what your initiatives are. So if you are, let's say later on down the road, you may want to expand and maybe do some acquisitions into something. You just never know. You have to decide what your goals are with your business. So yeah, you're a hairdresser, and so not everyone's your client, but later on down the road, what if you may want to do some acquisitions of some property to get some different salons? So you just have to decide what it is that you are wanting to do with your business, and that will help you to decide where you're headed. For me, I'm a communications professional, and I'm trying to connect with different small businesses, and I produce conferences, and I'm author of a book, and I'm trying to sell that book. So I'm open to anyone because I need to sell the book. But for you, I think that, kind of developing a plan of like, hey, 5 years down the road, maybe I want to, like I said, own some salons. Maybe I want to do like a mobile thing with my hair salon business. Just decide on what you want to do for your business.
Right. And I think that's really important. So, you might want to strategize about the different types of relationships that you want to build.
Yeah.
So, I think for me, I try to, obviously I'm always looking for female entrepreneurs to connect with because, I want them to embrace the art of bartering and using bartering within their business. But, if you're in the beauty industry, think about bloggers that you might want to connect with, because that's another way of promotion. If you start to build relationships with them, if you start to, maybe you want to create a product. Like I know a girl in ATL who just started a hair care line, and she's been doing hair for years. She built relationships with different bloggers. So when it was time for her to launch her product, it was already like, hey, this is already, my friend, or, we already have a relationship. You want to try this, or you want to put this on your blog? And, it was easier for her to market and promote what she was doing. So I would say just always be gracious, always be polite to people, because you never know how that relationship will manifest in the future.
Yeah, definitely all about the strategy.
Yes. So she says, I teach beauty, and some of the facets of my future, I will need them. Yep. So you definitely want to make sure that you are doing that.
Yeah.
So one of the big questions, how often should entrepreneurs audit their marketing efforts? And how do they know when it's time to change the pace or just to change up what they're doing? Because a lot of times people will do things and then it may not be working, but they don't really know what's next or if they should actually stop. So how much time should you give yourself before you stop a certain marketing effort?
It depends on what your funds are looking like. I mean, honestly, I think a fair time span is 3 to 6 months. You don't want to do something like 1 week and like, okay, I did it last week, it didn't work, I don't see anybody. No, give it, a little time, 3 to 6 months. Kind of like dating, like the 90-day rule. You kind of want to give it, 3 to 6 months, somewhere between there, and measure it. And if you find that it's not working, look at your competitors and see what they're doing. And, kind of like, okay, they did this campaign, maybe I should kind of do something like that, but put my own spin to it. Don't copy anybody, but just, put your own spin to it.
Right. I totally agree. And, I think that it goes back to your original point of creating that marketing plan and really just trying to look at the metrics, because it's really hard to determine your return on investment in a week. You really have to do things consistently. And especially if you're just starting off, like if you're just going into a business and if you didn't already have a following beforehand, or if you weren't doing things to kind of, hype up or to promote your business, then I definitely think that you should give yourself some time. But you should also be open to experiment as well. So, if something is not working, don't try to keep doing the same old thing. So, because sometimes I feel like as entrepreneurs, we get so wrapped up on a specific thing. Like we're like, oh my gosh, I created this, this is good. It's a great idea. And it's a good idea to us, but it's not really a good idea to our target audience. So, don't get your feelings hurt if your audience doesn't relate to what you think is the best thing since sliced bread.
Right.
So good. You see. How can we connect with Kiersten? Website, social media? Oh, okay. So we were actually going to discuss it at the end, but if you want to shout out your Twitter and your website really fast, they want to know how they can connect with you.
Okay. So you can connect with me on LinkedIn, because that's my jam. The spelling of my name is Kiersten, Kiersten. Last name is Kindred, Kindred. And to follow and to keep up with me and to buy my products, you can visit my website at kcfirm.com. That's kcfirm.com. And Twitter, you can follow my business account at kcfirm, Twitter, /Twitter.
Okay, no, perfect. Okay, I'm going to ask you to that information again later on. So
Okay.
Just as an FYI, I have maybe 3 more questions for you, just my questions. And if the audience have any other questions, you guys feel free to chime in. Again, if you have any questions, make sure that you're using the YouTube live comments feature below, or you can tweet us using the hashtag Babes in Charge. So one of the last questions that I have for you, when do you know when it's time for a rebrand? And once you do that rebrand, what are the do's and don'ts that entrepreneurs should consider when seeking a rebrand?
When do you know that it's time for a rebrand? I think that the best way to know when it's time for a rebrand is gauging what your customers. So getting customer feedback is key, because then they can tell you like, hey, this is what we like, this is what we do not like. And then also by your sales. What's your sales looking like? Like we said, give it a couple of months to kind of see. And but like a overall rebrand is you kind of feel it. And that's the best way for me to describe it, is like when you're not really connecting anymore with your brand, it's time to do a rebrand and just kind of freshen it up. And the do's and don'ts is to just, I say the main don't is to just take everything down and just be, like we said, ghost. You still want to keep everything up there, but be working behind the scenes. Another big don't is if you're going to do a rebrand, make sure that you are making a big deal out of it. Like everything is spirit fingers, okay? So you want everything to be a big deal. And so when you're doing a rebrand like that, pull out the red carpet and make it a big deal. Like, even if people are like, oh, she's just rebranding her stuff, you need to have an event like, hey, I just rebranded my stuff, check it out. Like, make sure that you're putting yourself out there. So I think that's a big thing that people do not do. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to just have like a rebrand, like, okay, I changed it up. It's like, well, who knows it? You need to announce it, market it, and communicate that to your followers. Another do that you want to do is do some research before you get to rebranding stuff, and before you get to change everything off of your feelings. Do the research. What will your customers connect with? What type of colors do they like? What type of wording do they relate to? Like, if you are a child blogger, like a kid's blogger, are you going to be, for mommy, a mommy blogger, are you going to be using like these nice, like these wonderful words, or are you going to just kind of keep it how you like it? Kind of do the research and do the work.
Do the research and do the work. I couldn't have said it better myself. And interestingly enough, and this is just kind of a question that came off the top of my head, with a rebrand, how do you know when it's time to rebrand or just stop and go to a totally different business venture? Because that happens sometimes. Sometimes businesses evolve into something that's totally different.
Right. I think it's really, like I said, it's about your feeling. What are you connecting with, and how passionate are you? You need to take a step back and scale back and kind of learn what you're even passionate about. And that will kind of guide you. I'm all about like my passion, like what's leading me right now. If this other brand is not leading you, don't go that way. Don't force it. Stop trying to make fetch happen. Just do your thing,
Mm-hmm. Totally. Good. So I guess for you, what final piece of advice would you like to give our audience? So is there anything that we didn't cover tonight that is kind of like burning in the back of your head that people should definitely know about, how they can be consistent within their brand?
I think the main thing is that once you find that balance with yourself, you will find that balance within your brand. And so I think a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we forget about ourselves, and we're not, doing the things we need to do. We're not working out. We're not cooking for ourselves. We're not doing anything. And your business is everything. You are your business and you are your brand. So you need to treat yourself as though you're treating your brand. I think that's the main thing, is this finding that balance. And that's something that I'm doing right now, is just finding the balance and making sure that I'm taking care of myself, because it's really important. And I feel like that's the reasons why a lot of times people do fail, because they're not taking care of themselves. And we're so focused on our business, and it's like, oh, hashtag no sleep. It's like, well, you kind of need your sleep. So just, I think that's the main thing, is just focusing on your mind, body, and soul in your marketing, like as far as like that helps to facilitate that, like that makes you a better business person, that makes you a better marketer, that makes you a better communicator to your employees or interns, everything.
Excellent. And so what's next for you? Like, I know that you have a lot of things coming up. You mentioned your workbook earlier. Feel free to mention that again. But what's next for you? So that way we know what to look for with you.
Well, I'm definitely going to be planning a new conference. But it's not going to be BAC. BAC will probably be next year. But this year I'm working on doing like I said, like kind of mind, body, and soul. Because that's what's leading me. Like I said, you gotta go with your passion. And the main thing is May 1st, I will be having my activity book coming out. So feel free to follow me on LinkedIn to kind of get the updates, or on my website. You can join my email list. And yeah, I mean, the activity book, for those of you who may not have been beginning of the cast, is pretty much all about mind, body, and soul, and just remembering those things. Like, did I pray today? Have I done my daily devotional for today? What's my goals for today, morning, evening, and night? And then also it's like a little fitness log, because that's something I'm big into too. It's like my fitness and staying on top of that. So it's everything that you need to have a balanced life. So that's coming out May 1st.
Excellent. Well, thank you. So I just want to do a really quick recap just to make sure that we covered everything from tonight. First things first, you definitely want to make sure that if you're going to be consistent in your marketing, you need a plan. So, whether that's a yearly plan or breaking it down by quarters, you need to make sure that you're coming up with a plan, so that way your efforts are not just sporadic and random, right? So that is one thing. Second thing that I think that I took away from our conversation tonight is making sure that you delegate, whether that is, hiring a virtual assistant, or like you said, you're big on interns, using internship.com to find those individuals who will work for your business. Do that, because we're all not superwomen, and we definitely want to make sure that we're delegating so we can concentrate on what we do best, which is whatever our product or service is. Definitely making sure that you're using tools like Canva, making sure that you're using tools like Buffer or Grum, and then you said, is it Trello? Is it
Trello?
Trello. Making sure that you're using tools like that to automate your process. Definitely also want to make sure that you don't go ghost. So what that means is if you're launching something for the first time, and let's say it didn't come out the way that you wanted, or life gets in the way, make sure that your brand is always front and center, because you don't want people to forget about you, and you want it to stay relevant, because you never know how still being relevant will connect you to your next opportunity. Yes. Definitely making sure that you're looking at your analytics and your metrics to figure out when are the best times to post, because again, you don't want to post when your audience is not online, and then you feel like your marketing efforts are not going in vain, and ultimately that can really make you feel discouraged and make you not want to do anything. So making sure that you're looking at those analytics. We also talked about investing in free trainings. We talked about like the Google trainings as well, and making sure that you get certified and you learn about SEO, that search engine optimization, to make sure that you're getting put on the map. So we covered a lot tonight. So if you just joined us within the last 30 minutes or so, definitely make sure that you check out the replay. I will be leaving this on YouTube, and it will also be available on the barterbabes.com. Now, before we leave, I just want to check and make sure that there are no additional questions for the evening. So let's see. I think we answered most of these questions. Cool. Yes. What is the name of the drop and drag website? Wix. Okay. So someone asked that. So drop and drag website, definitely Wix.com. I think Weebly is also another drop and drag as well.
Yes. Weebly is awesome.
Yes. So this is good. So we had a lot of good questions. So I really appreciate everyone for taking the time to tune in tonight. Again, thank you for being my first ever guest for the Babes in Charge series. I'm really excited to keep this off on a monthly basis. And just make sure you guys follow Kiersten on her social media platforms and her website. Again, she's an amazing guru. She knows what she's talking about when it comes to branding, marketing, and communications, because there is a difference between the three. And I also encourage you, if you are getting acquainted with Barter Babes for the first time, to make sure that you follow us at www.thebarterbabes.com. We're also on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And we also have a community. So if you're watching and if you're not a part of our Facebook community, make sure you join the Barter Babes community. So again, thank you all, and make sure you tune in next month. Next month, I'm really excited for our next guest. We have Jacqueline Twilley. She is a negotiation strategist and expert, and she'll be talking to us about how to have difficult business conversations. So if you're scared to negotiate, or if you've never really been the type of person to sell yourself or never really asked for what you wanted, now is the time to do so for your business, and Jacqueline will make sure that we have all of those bits of information. So make sure you check her out. We will do this again on Monday, April the 10th. And again, we'll talk to Jacqueline Twilley. She is the CEO and founder of Zero Gap, where she helps women negotiate for their worth. So thank you all again tonight. I hope everyone has a wonderful evening. And if you have any questions, feel free to email us. Add our information in the description for you all in case you need to get in contact. But other than that, have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.